having this particularly focused on Delaware. So, MACH2 and the regional hydrogen economy. Okay, what is the opportunity for hydrogen? Okay, it's an energy source, 3 times the energy of carbon-based fuels. If I move, can you hear me if I move away from this? Yeah. Wonderful.
Actually, we can give you a roaming mic.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, much better. Lots of applications and consumer opportunities for hydrogen. It's a driver of energy independence. We all saw when with the invasion of Ukraine and Russia, all of a sudden there were problems with supply chains, with energy. This is a driver of energy independence. As of 2021, more than 25 countries have adopted hydrogen as a pillar of their energy sector strategies. It's not the answer, it's one of the answers. It is an important element of an energy strategy. And some of the countries that you don't even think of as really being aggressive in this area, Middle East that has traditionally been all about fuel, they're expected to invest 100 billion in clean hydrogen by 2030. China right now accounts for 40% of global capacity, so this is a worldwide initiative, it's not just in the US. In the US specifically, the National Clean Hydrogen Strategy, they're looking at improving efficiency, cost effectiveness of electrolysis technologies, supporting projects, domestic supply chain, and the Regional Clean Hydrogen Hubs project. And that's what we're going to really speak about today. In the US, also looking at developing a clean hydrogen support standard, and there is a clean hydrogen strategy roadmap. So at the end of this, you'll see resources, and you'll actually see links to the clean hydrogen roadmap as well, so you can actually check that out specifically. Moving down to Delaware, we produce less energy than any other state, of course because we're small, but also we consume 80 times more energy than we produce. All of our energy primarily comes from Pennsylvania. So we're importing energy, but we actually have the resources here to produce it here in Delaware. We don't have to import our energy from Pennsylvania. Our renewable portfolio standard requires that retail electricity suppliers source 40% of sales from renewables by 2030, with at least 10% coming from solar. And then our House Bill 99 requires the state to reduce greenhouse gases by 50% in 2030 and 100% by 2050. We can actually achieve that by building in the production and consumption of green hydrogen within our state. That can be a factor into reaching those pretty aggressive goals for this state. Hydrogen's not new. It's been around for a long, long time. People think that it's like new because everyone's talking about it now, but it's been around for a long time. Right now, industries are consuming around 70 million tons. Demand is increasing, but the majority of hydrogen today is produced from natural gas. It's produced from coal in some cases, lignite in others. The MACH2 hub is focused on producing green hydrogen. What does that mean? That means that when the hydrogen comes out, it's not produced from fossil fuels. It's produced from clean energy sources. What does that mean? That means that there are no carbon emissions at the other end. So the majority of the hydrogen produced today actually has emissions associated with it. So the hub concept becomes important as we make this hydrogen more accessible, because that is going to bring together a number of producers, consumers, and infrastructure to make the hydrogen accessible. The hydrogen that's produced today is produced in pockets, and it's produced in an area where it's not easily accessible to the people that need it. So that's where the hubs start getting important. How are we going to do that? So the IRA was signed into law around August 16, 2022, and there are lots of federal spending directed towards reducing carbon emissions, but among that was $7 billion that are going towards regional hydrogen hubs. Now, the hydrogen hubs is a group or a coalition of producers, as we said, consumers, and infrastructure that are here to reduce carbon emissions by achieving clean hydrogen production, producing, processing, delivering, and storing clean hydrogen, and connecting to other regional hubs. So when you think about a rail system, think about a road system, think about how we can produce these green hydrogen in different areas and then connect these areas so we can essentially have a system, a network of clean hydrogen production and consumption and distribution within the US, leading to independent energy. And the goal is to have that as clean energy. So how did we get there? In November 2022, we submitted a concept paper. USDRE received about 79 concept papers, and of those 79, they encouraged 33 to submit full papers. The 33, 20 actually ended up submitting papers. In May 2023, they gave us preliminary feedback, and we had 5 days to submit a 10-page response to that feedback. So it's like, hurry, 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 and then wait. So essentially that's how the whole thing progressed for us. In July 23, after they looked at our preliminary, after we responded to our preliminary feedback, 11 hubs were invited for pre-selection interviews, and 7 hubs were selected, and Mid-Atlantic was one of those hubs, which was fantastic. So what does that entail? Essentially, it's a funding award of $750 million over 10 years. Our projected production is around 270 metric tons per day by 2030. We're looking at several thousand jobs retained and or created at all levels. So looking at around the 13,000 jobs, and that's within the region. So the Mid-Atlantic Hub comprises the entire state of Delaware, Southeast Pennsylvania, and Southern New Jersey. So we're looking at several thousand jobs. It is a labor-led hub, so we're looking at a lot of labor involvement in the job created. And we're targeting the cost of hydrogen at or below the cost of diesel. It's a very, very aggressive target because hydrogen right now is what, $7, $8, $9 a kilo. So we're looking at a pretty aggressive target. We have a high concentration of potential and additional partners. So essentially we have 13 partners with around 22 projects. That are either producing, consuming, or developing infrastructure for the hub. This is just the preliminary concept, and I won't go into detail, but essentially that kind of shows you the various production and consumption projects that we've got in our hub. That's the Southeast New Jersey, Southeast Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and then that's the Delaware part of the projects. They're all very preliminary. So as we go through the process, some may fall out, we may have more come in, but that's where this is our starting point. When we look at our hub, the majority of our production is green hydrogen. That is hydrogen that is produced by electrolysis. Electrolysis is essentially the splitting of the H2O atom into hydrogen and oxygen, and it is using hydropower or solar or wind power. So we're using electrolyzers to split the hydrogen into water and into oxygen and hydrogen, and then the power all comes from clean energy. We have a little bit of pink in there, that is nuclear power, which is also, as you can see, the carbon intensity is 0 kilograms of CO2 emissions, which is next to 0 emissions. Tiny little bit of orange, that comes from renewable natural gas. Again, next to 0 emissions in that. That particular project is in Pennsylvania, that is being led by PGW. But the majority of our hydrogen is all green. What does it mean for Delaware itself? It's actually closer to $280 million coming into Delaware that for the projects themselves. So those companies in Delaware that are participating in this are getting around $280 million in funding, and those same companies are investing their own funds of around $1 billion. So it's not just public funds that are coming in there, it's private funds that are being invested into the hub. This doesn't include supply chain companies, so you've got other companies in there that are investing money into developing this economy that are not necessarily sub-recipients. I see my friend over there, Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy is going to be participating in this economy. We're already seeing more staff being added to Bloom Energy, Air Liquide. All these companies are not sub-recipients of this funding, but you know that these companies are going to be investing in this economy to grow the economy. So that doesn't even include how much investment is coming from these supply chain companies. FF Ionics, I don't know if you've seen or read, they have membrane technologies. They're opening a new facility in Kent County. WL Gore, membrane technologies. All of these supply chain, M. Davis, I know I saw another M. Davis, are going to be participating in this economy. So all of these things that you don't see, that's all going to be contributing to the economic development. In addition, we've got funds budgeted for Delaware-specific workforce development, environmental justice, and community outreach programs. So funds are going towards that to ensure that we're engaging with the community, we're engaging with environmental justice programs, and we're building workforce development. This just gives you an idea of the ecosystem. How many organizations, companies, supply chain companies are actually involved, and this is just a very small microcosm. There are absolutely a lot more happening in the background. Why is Delaware great for this? You know, we have the resources, we have the location, and we have an agile government that can really help us. And I also see some friends from our government supporters here. We could not have done this without them. The support that we received from all our state, federal government was, I can't say enough. Their support was fabulous throughout this whole process. And right at the end, and you're going to get a copy of this, there's some resources where you can get more information on MACH2, on the regional clean hydrogen hubs, and hydrogen background. I hope I get that to 10 minutes. So without further ado, I'd like to ask our panelists to talk a little bit more about